Hi everyone, welcome to Rappler Talk. I'm Jules Giang, Rappler's Head of Community, and we are here at the Command Center of the PPCRV located at the University of Santo Tomas. And I'm very fortunate to have with me the chairman of the PPCRV and one of the leading experts of technology here in the country, no other than Ms. Myla Villanueva. Ms. Myla, good day to you.
Hi, Jules. Thanks for having me.
So we are here located at the very mammoth command center of the PPCRV. But for the benefit of our viewers, what is the value of the PPCRV for every elections for the past decades?
Yes, we've been around for a long time, since 1991, and have participated in many elections. First, PPCRV is a national lay movement that is political but non-partisan.
Okay.
And our work is to really promote clean, honest, accurate, meaningful, and peaceful elections. Now, we are an accredited partner or citizens arm of the COMELEC. Therefore, we have some rights by the law. For example, to be present in some 106,000 polling places across the country on Monday, across 37,000 voting centers. So you can imagine the scale of this operation. And the value is, of course, we're there to observe and be ever present for our public.
So, Ms. Myla, you mentioned about ensuring clean and honest elections, no? And you've been doing that for the past decade. Since 1991, you said that's my birth year. So, naedad ko pa lang PPCRV.
But I wasn't around then.
Okay. All right. So, for the benefit of our viewers, no, Ms. Myla, you talk about voter education. I've been reading doon sa list of efforts ng PPCRV. You launched voter education, voter monitoring operations, among others. If we compare the 2022 elections as to 2016 and even to 2010, what's different with 2022?
Well, first of all, 2010 was a milestone. That was our first automated system for your young viewers, no? Therefore, as a young volunteer, kung hindi na natatandaan ng ating mga kabataan, a manual election is crazy. You know, we would have ballot boxes being snatched. You know, there's this thing called dagdag bawas when they're canvassing the votes na yung 20,000 nagiging 200,000 by adding a zero.
Yeah.
So that was the past. Since 2010, we've automated and our voters are a bit spoiled because all of a sudden, instead of 30 days, we know our results within the next few days.
Yeah.
So that also limits the time for violence or manipulation of the votes. So since 2010, we've just kept on improving the technologies. And of course, elections are not perfect. It's kind of messy, things happen. But every single time, I think we've been improving the processes. Of course, with the helping COMELEC and all the stakeholders in our election process.
Okay, so let's talk about Monday. So May 9. So it's a probably one of the longest day in every 6 years. So from 6 a.m. the polls open and then it will end by 7 p.m. And right now, behind us, you're seeing a lot of computers. For transparency, I'm not really privy with tech, and you are one of the leading tech experts in the Philippines. So, could you walk us through what will happen on the tech side once the votes come in by 7 p.m.?
Okay, let's unpack May 9.
Okay.
Polls open at 6 a.m., right? Here, what you call electoral board that's comprised of teachers who are working as election officers on May 9 open the polling place. They announce a few things, show people that they're opening the machines, that all the security elements are in place, and then they initialize and start the process. Voting starts, and it's, of course, our PPCRV volunteers are there along with the political watchers, to see if anything untoward is happening. And of course, there they can talk to the EB or report things, especially in our very remote areas, that things may not happen as it should be.
Yeah.
So at 7 o'clock, the polling center closes, and that's where the important part of our work also begins. We've done our work in the day. There's a second part of the evening. Mahaba talaga yung trabaho. No, it's still in the precinct level. There are 8 returns that are printed.
Okay.
These are long sheets of paper that summarize the election returns of that precinct. So 8 of these are printed before the vote counting machine electronically transmits the results.
Okay.
So, ano ba yung nangyayari dyan? Kukuhanin po natin ang fourth copy of the return.
The fourth copy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of a pre-transmission. Imagine all of our young volunteers, they're picking up all of these returns, and all of that is gonna go here.
Ilang volunteers to, Ms. Myla?
500,000 volunteers.
500,000.
I'm so happy that we have that, but we have more for your viewers. We want more. We
Sige,
always
we can
need
invite
more.
later.
Yes,
Okay, so
yes.
500,000 volunteers will get those copies and
Yes.
bring it where? Here.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course, they have their own systems of collecting it in hubs on a provincial level. We have to thank, of course, the lay people within our diocese. These are the provincial hubs of our churches. The lay community come together. They do a hub and spoke system where in the different voting centers, it goes to the diocese. From the diocese, it goes here.
Okay.
What do we do here? So, after printing the 8 copies, the teachers, the election board, presses a button, and this machine now sends the electronic copy to the COMELEC, to the media, and the PPCRV here at UST, the command center. It's called the transparency server.
That's the transparency.
Yes, I'm sure
server.
everyone is
Yes.
hearing this transparency server. And then there's a central server, and that is for the website of the COMELEC to show everyone the results.
Yeah.
So what's the significance of getting a pre-transmission copy, number 4,
And the transmitted
and the
one.
transmitted one? We match these two.
Okay.
When you match these two, it means that there's no manipulation, there's parang walang magic na nangyayari. From the time na sinubo natin yung balota, binilang ng machine yung mga votes natin at pinadala. So, we match the two.
Okay.
And I'd like to tell your viewers that in 2019, we actually picked up, at that time, 77,000 out of 87,000 returns. We encoded 63,000 returns in a command center like this. The match was 99.995.
Okay. So, doon sa point something na lang na difference, ano yung reason kaya nagkaroon ng discrepancy?
Kayo nga sa survey, naniniwala, 2,000 lang na copy. Ito, we have 77,000 copies,
Ito na
right?
yun eh.
Yeah. So, I think there are some steps kasi that we can talk about here na nangyayari in the precinct level bago mag-election. It's called final testing and sealing. That's from May 2 to May 7. So it's happening all over the country now.
Simultaneously na.
Yes. Meron yung mga 10 ballots na tinetest
Okay.
ng mga watchers, the public. They open the machine before election day. They feed 10 ballots na mga volunteers vote upon. At yan, tinitignan nila kung tama yung bilang ng machine.
Yeah.
And then election return is printed. Paminsan, napapadala yung test election return na yan dito. So, syempre, hindi magmamatch.
Okay.
Kasi
Okay.
it was the wrong return.
Okay.
That's usually the case.
Okay.
But it's so small and
So
insignificant.
that's 99.9.
995.
Okay, so ganun
Yeah.
ka-accurate so far.
Yeah.
But yung question ng mga kababayan natin, na laging narrative na umiikot kapag may election, meron ba chance na mamanipulate pa, umadaya itong mga machines na to, yung mga VCMs natin, lalo na from May 2 to May 7, as you mentioned, they are testing currently these machines.
Well, first of all, na-prove na natin on May 2 to 7 that it's counting the ballots correctly, di ba? So, one check. When it came from COMELEC, when it came through the logistics arm that people keep on talking about, diba? Dumating na sa mga munisipyo. So, ginawa naman ng logistics company ang dapat na gawin. May nangyari ba while it was shipping? No, because it's counting. It's counting correctly, diba? Nung tinest natin, lahat naman ng boto ng 10 ballots na bilang. So, check number 2. Prior to that, ang mga expert natin sa PPCRV, and we have a lot of them, went through what you call a source code review.
Okay.
Many months ago yon. And ang ginagawa ng mga techie natin, tinitignan nila yung software or the brains of the computer that run all of these systems. So, check din natin, yan nga ba yung software na nagpapatakbo on election day. So, there are ways that we can check.
Okay.
May hash code yan. For the non-techies, that's like the identity of the software that's running that machine.
Per precinct.
Per precinct, may hash code.
Okay.
So, we teach our volunteers to look at the hash code. Dito, titignan din natin per ER, tama ba yung hash code.
Okay.
Kasi in the world of blockchain and crypto, may mga ways yan na makikita natin kung nag-iiba yung software.
Okay. Ms. Myla, my next question is, na-print na yung pre-transmission and then may transmission na. On the transmission side, siguro comparing to 2016 and 2019, were there times na hindi nakapag-transmit because of connectivity issues?
Let's differentiate the two, no? Of course, may mga areas na, you have to try more than once. So it happens, but it's gotten better. Our telecom companies, this is not their first election anymore. So pre-test naman yung mga lugar-lugar na yan, kung maganda yung signal, at kung hindi, what they can do to bolster it. Satellite in some cases. But so far, it's everything is transmitted within the first 3 days. And yung mga spot na nasisira, yung mga VCM, that they have to bring the results to the next municipality. Yun yung mga nakakapagtagal.
Okay. Ms. Myla, let's do a quick pause first on the tech side of things.
Sure.
But let's focus on the main agenda, basically of PPCRV. In our research, you're focusing on the good citizenship values.
Yes.
So the PPCRV released this 16 values, which is basically enshrined in the Constitution. So parang back to basics yung ginawa ng PPCRV. What's the value of this part?
Kasi there's so much disinformation, right, that's happening. And we will be drowned if we don't look for something immutable, yung talagang so basic to our everyday life. So we go, wow, it's the Constitution. The Constitution has 16 values there. Number 1, and if we wrap it around 4 pillars, maka-Diyos. We have to remember, our where we came from, our Father, how the goodness of our country is here. So, maka-Diyos, maka-tao, maka-bayan, for our country, makakalikasan. If the Constitution is asking us these 16 values to be a good citizen, siguro naman, yung mga magsaserve sa atin at ang ating binoboto, dapat mas lalo, they should enshrine all of those values. So we did a checklist to just help first-time voters discern for themselves, and not kung saan-saang fake news nang gagaling ang mga sources, no? And we also try to ask them to look at, like you, Rappler, traditional media, research, and really find time to keep quiet and think about who you're going to vote for. So it's think, pray, and cast your vote.
So Ms. Myla, I guess the messaging here is, aside from being issue-based when making your decision on Monday, also check on the values. And the PPCRV has released this 16 values. Very basic and universal values, actually.
Yes.
Na pwede natin maging basis when we make our decision on Monday. How's the reception so far doon sa voter education activities ng PPCRV when you introduce this?
People say it's very helpful. And aside from being helpful, it is one of the elements, no? Kasi it's more spiritual, more values-based. And of course, we always encourage especially our first-time voters. You look at a candidate, national or local, what was his past? How did he do as a servant in the past, if he has served for a long time? And then, what is he promising in the future? I mean, do those two match?
Okay.
Right? I mean, if you haven't performed in the past, why do you think you can in the future? And of course, the most important thing, I mean, do they care for those of us who are in need, our poorer brothers and sisters? Things like that, when you go shopping online, you study things so well. Siguro naman, when you vote for someone, mas lalo pang malalim dapat ang ating pagsusuri.
Sabi nga nila, dapat mas mataas yung standards natin. Kasi it's our future, not only the 3 or 6 years. Talagang it will really write the future, the history of your country.
Correct.
Okay. So thank you so much for sharing that, Ms. Myla. So we're done with the principles of PPCRV for 2022. Now let's talk about you, Ms. Myla. So
Thank
as
you.
mentioned in the introduction, you are one of the tech experts here in the Philippines, and I think this you're very fitting to be the chairman of PPCRV kasi on the tech side of things, talagang you know the values, the jargons of everything. So when you committed to this position, what was your main priority?
Well, I was just a volunteer in 2010.
Okay.
And, I've been a poll watcher since I was a young person. So nakita ko talaga yung dayaan nangyayari. When I say dayaan, because it was manual, nagkaka-blackout, ang gulo-gulo ng mga presinto, paminsan nawawala yung mga materyales, yung mga balota. Yes. So, as young kids, we would follow the ballot boxes to Rizal Memorial at that time, an arena like this. But I really felt that it's time to give back. I've been fortunate in my technology career to have started 5 startups, all of which have been very successful and exited through either an M&A or a private equity company acquiring it. Every startup's dream, diba? To grow big and be acquired. All of that has been given to me, and I thought it was time to give back. So I volunteered for PPCRV, gave my technical expertise in 2010. They've asked me to be chair 3 times. I said no 3 times, but...
So what was the turning point?
Well, our dear Ambassador De Villa, who's founded PPCRV, really on the 3rd time said, it's really time, you're needed. And I couldn't say no. It was also time. I mean, I've been blessed and I really want to give back to such an amazing cause and amazing volunteers. I can't tell you how committed they are.
Yeah. So, Ms. Myla, how do you plan to level up PPCRV under your leadership?
Well, I think we've done a number of things. We've gone digital, but we've also not forgotten yung mga ating mga voters na wala namang internet. Sometimes we forget them. I've gone on radio so much, you won't believe it. And this is my 5th interview of the day, just to ensure that people really get the word out about what we do. But it's really not about me, it's about the volunteers. In a very polarized and emotional environment like this. Imagine, they've been preparing siguro mga 1 year na. They do everything for free.
Okay.
Katabi nila mga, and I don't mean naman that the political watchers are not good, but wala silang bayad. They're serving us because they want to.
Okay, so we are really looking forward, Ms. Myla, no, dito sa, especially in May 9, kasi kumbaga this is a test, of course, the first test of your leadership ba? Under PPCRV? Second.
The first one was in 2019 when there was the 7-hour glitch.
Oh, yeah.
That was baptism by fire.
Okay.
But hey, I'm a tech person. It wasn't that difficult
Correct.
to challenge.
Yeah.
To trust but verify.
But are you
at that time.
anticipating any challenges for this 2022
Of
election?
course.
Okay.
Every election has its problems. In the past, you hear about the Enye, you hear about the 7-hour glitch.
Yeah.
May mga drama ang election, no matter, because it's big. Guys, we have to remember, 1 person, 1 vote. Tapos yung boto nyo sa VCM, umaabot kaagad sa national. No country in the world has such a modern election, actually. So when we complain about the difficulties and all the breakdowns, just imagine that it's very modern and it's very big.
Very complex.
Yeah.
So many islands, of course, in the Philippines.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, Ms. Myla, thank you so much. And again, all the best on Monday. Not only for you, but for the whole PPCRV team and of course, COMELEC. But now, let's talk about the voters. Okay, tas ang bida natin, ang mga bida sa Monday. So, if there's one thing that you want the voters would remember when they cast their votes on Monday, what would that be?
I think that we should never take that privilege and right for granted. There's a war in Ukraine, diba? We're all watching it in horror. That's about their ability to decide for their future. Here we are as a country, you can walk into the precinct, cast your votes. Don't take it for granted. Take it as seriously as you possibly could. Pause and enjoy that moment that we still have this privilege, and we should always protect it.
Okay.
And of course, try to be a volunteer
Ito
as
na nga.
well.
So, as soon as they finish voting on Monday, syempre, iba dyan, parang, grabe anxiety ngayon, Miss Myla, ng mga tao kasi malapit na elections eh. So, they want to protect their votes as soon as they cast their votes on Monday. Ano yung pwedeng gawin ng mga voters natin, especially the youth?
Yes.
After, how can they volunteer for PPCRV and be part of your 500,000 volunteers?
Yes. Well, first, check with your parishes. Baka may mga nangangailangan pang mga parokya. Hindi lang naman yung presinto yung nangangailangan ng volunteers. Water, food, your cars, your logistics, and the ability to help the volunteers in the voting centers. And then, while we're here in the command center, we also need 200 volunteers a day.
Okay.
Filled up na po ang May 9 hanggang May 13, but we still need volunteers for May 14 and 15. Go to ivolunteer.com.ph or walk in here, but you have to be vaxxed.
Okay.
And the Stay Safe app. But
Okay.
you're very welcome to participate in the People's House here at the UST.
Okay, here in España, in the city of Manila. Okay, so as we wrap up this interview, so you gave your message already to the voters, to those who want to volunteer. Again, amazing job for being able to tap 500,000 volunteers. That's really amazing. What's your message for the candidates?
For the candidates, everybody is aspiring for a better leader all the time. We're aspiring for a better country all the time. It is really my hope that whatever it is that you promised, you deliver on. Because as you can see, the emotions are running high. Why? Because we love our country. We only want the best for it. And to those who are doing things like vote buying and the wrong ways to win an election, that's already a form of corruption and corrupting that aspiration. Sana naman pag-isipan, wag na. And the best thing to do is to be an authentic servant leader that we can all support after the election.
Okay, so servant leadership. Yan yung kailangan ng Pilipinas as we move forward after 2020.
And may I add, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to all the volunteers of the PPCRV. Hangang-hanga po kami sa inyo, and you are our inspiration, and we'll see you on Monday.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Myla, and of course to the volunteers, pagpupugay po sa inyong lahat, and to our candidates, servant leadership po ang kailangan ng pinakamensahe na sinabi sa atin ni Miss Myla. Muli po, nakapanayan po natin ang chairman ng PPCRV, walang iba kundi si Miss Myla Villanueva. Once again, I'm Jules Giang, Rappler's Head of Community, and this is Rappler Talk.